The trial of Lori Vallow Daybell has been fascinating, to say the least. Disheartening, extremely sad, and disturbing all at the same time. All this weekend, we are taking a look back at some of the most compelling testimony and conversations surrounding the case of Lori Vallow Daybell. Here's another one.
This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
The Hidden Killers Podcast.
With Tony Bruschi.
We're listening to courtroom audio and specific testimonies from the trial of Lori Vallow Daybell. We're now up to Tammy, Daybell's sister, Samantha Gwilliam, taking the stand. The trial of Lori Vallow Daybell. Let's take a listen.
And, Your Honor, before we get started, I would note that Ms. Williams is a victim in this matter.
Very well. I was made aware of that. I don't believe the exclusionary rule would apply in this case, so I don't need to inquire as to whether or not any of this trial has been observed by this particular witness. So with that in mind, I'll just advise Ms. Williams, if you would please make audible responses, verbal responses to any question, and avoid talking at the same time as anyone questioning you. That'll help us keep a clear record. And with that, Ms. Blake, you can inquire on direct.
Thank you, Your Honor. Will you please state your name and spell your last name?
Samantha Gwilliam, Gwilliam.
Are you related to Tammy Daybell?
Yes, I am. She's my sister.
Do you recall being contacted by law enforcement about a pet cemetery on Tammy and Chad Daybell's property in Idaho?
Yes.
Were you aware if Tammy had a pet cemetery?
Yes, I knew she had one. We had seen it when we'd gone up to visit.
And I would ask that the witness be shown State's Exhibit 23A. I have 3 copies, so one for the court counsel, and then if we can have the witness shown one. And when you talk about a pet cemetery, do you know where it was located on the property?
Yes, it was on their property to the side of the red barn. They had a fire pit that we did have marshmallow roasts at, and there was a fence with a little dog statue next to it. My niece's dog was buried there, and that's why they put the dog statue on top of it.
And that photo that you've been shown, does that appear to be an accurate depiction of the property as you knew it?
Yes.
And, Your Honor, I would ask for the admission of State's Exhibit 23A. I'm not sure that it was previously admitted. Another witness may have used it.
Any objection?
No objection.
I don't believe it was previously admitted, so 23A is now admitted.
And if I could have permission to publish that to the jury?
Yes.
And I think there may be a pointer up there.
There is.
Can you indicate where you knew the pet cemetery to be located?
Right here in this little fence, you can see the little dog statue right at the base. This is the fire pit.
And how did you know, or I guess you've indicated that, was it common for Tammy to have a pet cemetery?
Yes, we all grew up with pets, and they were like our family. So when they pass away, we always buried them on our properties.
And that property in particular do you know whether that property is 202 North 1900 East in Fremont County, Idaho?
Correct.
Did Tammy love animals?
She did.
Do you know if she loved them her whole life?
Yeah, we always had pets, guinea pigs. She had ducks, like the whole gamut. We had all of them.
Did animals seem to love Tammy?
Yeah. She was a person that was, they were just drawn to her, and she loved taking care of them.
Was that the same way with people?
Yeah. She was a little bit of an introvert, but she loved people and loved taking care of them. She loved her grandkids.
And, Your Honor, I'm going to ask that the witness be shown State's Exhibit 298. I believe defense counsel has already been provided a copy. That's okay. Do you recognize that photo?
Yes, I do.
And who is that?
It's my sister.
And Your Honor, I'd move for the admission of Exhibit 298.
Any objection?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Archibald.
When was this picture taken, do you know?
It was taken at the wedding of one of her children.
Do you know about what year this picture was taken?
Hold on just a second. Within the year or two of her passing.
Maybe 2017?
Yeah,
or...
probably 2017. I can't remember. All of her children got married quickly, the older kids within a year of each other. And so, within the same year. So it was all, within the year or two of her passing, because she just started having grandchildren.
With that foundation, Your Honor, I don't have any objection to the exhibit.
All right, okay, Exhibit 298 is admitted.
Thank you. And may I publish it for the jury?
Yes.
How many children are in your family?
There's 5 of us kids.
Where did Tammy fit in that line?
She was the second oldest.
And how many brothers?
We have 3 brothers.
And you and Tammy were the only girls?
Yeah, we were the only sisters.
Were you close growing up?
Yes, we're only 4 years apart, and so we were far enough apart we didn't fight, and close enough together that we got along really well.
And did you maintain that closeness as you entered into adulthood?
Yes, we talked every day and saw each other every day, and we did everything together with our children.
And do you recall when Tammy started dating Chad Daybell?
Yeah, I do.
Did you know him from before?
Yes, his family lives in our hometown, and so I went to school with his brothers. He was older than me. He was the same age as my oldest brother, so he was not one that I hung around with, but I knew him.
Did you like Chad when she started dating him?
Yeah, he was a really nice guy.
Did you feel like he treated Tammy well?
Yeah, he did.
And then they ultimately ended up married?
Yeah.
And throughout their marriage, did you maintain contact with Chad and Tammy?
Yes, we were very close.
Was Chad in fact friends with your husband?
Yes.
Prior to Tammy moving to Idaho, how close did she live to you?
We were 2 blocks away from each other.
How often did you see her?
Every day.
Do you know how many kids Tammy and Chad have together?
Yeah, 5.
And you mentioned earlier Tammy's also a grandmother?
Yes.
Did Tammy want to move to Idaho?
At first, no. She doesn't like change. And all of her family was there, so in Springville. So it was not something she wanted to do at first.
Do you know whose idea it was for them to move?
It was Chad's.
Did Tammy work prior to moving to Idaho?
Yes, she did.
What did she do for work?
At the time that they moved, she was the special ed secretary at the high school. And previous to that, she worked at the elementary school as the computer teacher.
Was she good with computers?
Oh, she was amazing with them.
She was the go-to person?
She was the go-to person if any of us had a question about something that she could answer it, and she would pick up any new software and could figure it out. She was self-taught and was very smart.
And the 2 jobs you mentioned, she worked closely with children?
Yes, she did.
When they first got married, do you know what Chad did for work?
He was working for the Springville City Cemetery for the Parks Department. He was part of the cemetery upkeep crew. They helped prepare all the graves, and they took care of the cemetery, upkeep.
Was he also involved in ever digging graves that you know of?
Yeah, that was part of their job, is that they would dig all the graves that came through for any of the burials at the cemetery. Eventually, he came back and was the sexton at that cemetery, at that Springville. It was at the Evergreen Cemetery in Springville. And then eventually he was a sexton at the Spanish Fork Cemetery.
How did you find out about your sister's passing?
Chad called me the morning that she passed away.
Do you recall what he told you?
He told me that she had been really sick and that she'd been coughing all night, and had gotten up and with a coughing fit around midnight, 1 o'clock, and had gone back to sleep. And he was awakened by her that morning when she rolled out of bed dead.
Did that make any sense to you?
No, because I had just seen her 2 weeks previous to that, and she wasn't that sick at all. She was very healthy.
Did she indicate to you any activities that she was participating in?
Yeah, she was in a clogging class, and she was showing us some of her clogging moves, but she was also preparing to run a smaller race in their town, so she was trying to stay fit and healthy.
And how old was she?
She wasn't 50 yet. We were going to get ready to celebrate her 50th birthday.
When she came to visit in October, was that a normal visit?
No, it was out of the blue.
Did anyone come with her?
No, she came by herself, and that was unusual because Tammy didn't like to travel alone.
Did she tell you why she came down to visit?
Chad told her that she needed to come visit her family.
Was she able to see all of the siblings?
No, it was me and my mom and dad.
Did Tammy ever indicate to you that she had suspicion that Chad was having an affair?
No, she never said anything about it. If she did have any inkling, I think he probably brushed it away.
Did you notice any change in Chad and Tammy's relationship?
Yes, they stayed with us the first week in June of 2019, and something seemed off. They were very awkward at our house, and Chad wouldn't converse with my husband like they normally do. It just seemed really strange, and we weren't sure what was going on.
Were there any other instances where things seemed a little off?
Yes, in my birthday in July, Tammy showed up at my front door to give me my birthday present. I didn't even know they were in town, and he stayed in the car the whole time with it running. So she literally stood in my house for 5 minutes to talk, and then they just left. And he didn't even bother to come in and say anything. It was really weird.
And that was of 2019?
Yes.
Had you and Chad had any kind of a falling out?
No.
And, Your Honor, I'm noticing the time, so.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, Ms. Blake. Unfortunately, we need to break for the day so we can continue with the testimony of this witness tomorrow.
This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
The Hidden Killers Podcast.
With Tony Bruschi.
That was Tammy Daybell's sister, Samantha Gwilliam, taking the stand in the trial of Lori Vallow Daybell. We have much more to come. Press subscribe so you don't miss any of it. I'm Tony Bruschi. Stay with us.